Hello everyone, my name is Reese and welcome to my Patreon page for creating a Humanist Blockchain Future. Here's the high-level overview. So I do two main things. I do these system-level podcast interviews with experts, and I also am trying these experimental pledges to decentralize power. So on the first one, these are daily podcast interviews, and there are kind of 4 different podcast series that are scoped to different system levels. So there's Series A, the macro system, and this is answering the question like, where are we headed? So this is talking with philosophers, venture capitalists, that kind of thing. Then there's Series B, kind of diving down into human systems. And this is answering the question, how can we be more effective? So this is like, both as a group of people working together, things like lean or agile, but also things like within yourself and the way you view the world, things like mental models and like rationality. So then, away from the human level, there's Series C, which is kind of software systems. So this is answering the question like, what's happening in code? We'll talk with like experts in crypto-economic game theory. We'll talk about AI alignment, that kind of stuff. And then finally, Series D is systems for fun. And this is just saying like, what are some cool systems that are out there? Talking with game designers, Magic the Gathering, talking with musicians, photographers, maybe talking with, people who are language experts. Since just kind of like systems that are more fun. All the systems are fun, but these are especially fun. So that's one side of the thing, is these 4 different series scoped to different system levels and interviewing experts in those spaces. Then there's also this, my commitment and pledges to decentralized power. And this has kind of 2 main components. The first is not just thinking about the systems themselves and trying to change the system, but also thinking like, who am I talking with this about? Who am I interviewing? Who are the experts that we're chatting with? So for me, I'm pledging to interview at least 33% women on my podcast. That's my first step in this space. Then there's also not only the decentralization of kind of diversity style, but also like the decentralization of wealth and thinking about like income inequality and things like that. And so what I'm going to do is kind of implement this self-imposed income taxation. And that kind of goes in 3 main buckets. The first is from $0 to $1,500, kind of a basic income. All that money will go to me. Woo. The second bucket from $1,500 to $4,500, 25% of the money will go to charity. And then after $4,500 a month, around that amount, more money doesn't really equal more happiness. So at that point, I'll give 50% of my money to effective altruistic kind of nonprofits. So that's what's happening. And if you want to support the big vision, you can support the overarching Patreon on a per month basis. But if you're just interested in one of the specific podcast series, then you can support those Patreons on a per episode basis. So this is to say that there are 5 Patreons. There's this kind of overarching vision one, and then there's these 4 specific podcast interview series ones. So with that, thank you so much. Feel free to check out any of the content. I've done some interviews from season 0, kind of my test season, and now we're ramping up into season 1, and with these new exciting ones coming out in season 1. So thank you for your time. I love trying to do things right. I love asking people questions, and I love systems and thinking abstractly. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out as well. Thanks so much, and bye. And thank you for your support. Maybe.